Okay, so just getting right back into it with Prep Test 13, Game 1. So let's get into the questions. So, question 1. Group 1 could consist of what? Okay, so for this one, if you've seen other videos, you know that I like to just take each of the rules and find the rule breakers. So F and J have to be together. So I'm going to eliminate an answer choice that would put them apart. So B would have F and J apart. So I'll eliminate B. Next rule, G and M aren't supposed to be together, so I can eliminate E based on that rule. Rule 3 says that if H is in 1, then L should be in 1 as well. And we are looking at group 1 here, so for A, I see H in group 1, but I don't see L there. So I would eliminate it because it breaks that rule. Rule 4, if N is in 2, then G should be in 1. And if G is in 2, then N should be in 1. So what that tells me is that at least one of these two has to be in group 1. I can't put both of them in group 2. If I put N in group 2, that pushes G into group 1. If I put G in group 2, that pushes N into group 1. So I have to see at least one of them in this group. I don't see either of them in answer choice C. So what that would imply is that they're both in group 2, right? So that's not allowed. I've got to eliminate C. D has to be the correct answer. Let's write that out for our bank of acceptable solutions. So we've got G, H, L, and N. That would be our group 1, and everybody else would be in group 2. So that would be M, F, and J. And who's left over? K. Okay. So this is one acceptable scenario where this is my group 1 and this is my group 2. Okay. Moving on. Question 2. If K is in the same group as N, okay, so K and N together. Okay. Well, I'm not going to be able to fit both of them in the same group as F and J. So I'm going to have K and N in one group, F and J in the other group. And then I have to have either G or M in each group. And then who are my other ones? H and L are my other players. So H and L would have to be separated in order for us to have 4 on one side and 4 on the other. Now, I'm not saying that I know for sure that this is group 1 and this is group 2. Okay, I'm just making it so that like we're splitting them up into 2 equal groups of 4. Knowing that H and L have to be separated in order for this to work, I actually now know what group L is in and what group H is in. So because they have to be separated, L is definitely in group 1 and H is definitely in group 2. Okay. And then G could be with N, but doesn't have to be. So that's really not gonna let me know whether like G is with N or not. And K is wild and F and J, as long as they're together, that's fine. So I would be ready to look at my answer choices for this one. I think I've deduced everything that I can for sure. And it must be true that H is in group 2, which is answer choice B. So for question 2, the answer is B. Question 3. If F is in the same group as H, okay, so if F is in the same group as H, then J is also in that group, and either G or M is also in that group, so we don't have room for L. Okay, so sorry, I just realized that, oh, there we go. Just wanted to get rid of those marks around the L1 and H2 there. So that rule looks good again. Okay, got question 3. Okay, so F and H are in the same group. Let's actually write that somewhere. So H, if H is in 1, then L is supposed to be in 1 as well, but there's no room to put L in 1 here. So that's not going to work. So we're definitely working with this scenario. Okay. And so if all of that is true, that means that everybody else, right? Everybody who isn't mentioned yet is going to have to fill those 3 remaining spots. So that's going to be, let's see, so F and G, H and J, they've been mentioned. K hasn't been mentioned yet. L hasn't been mentioned yet. And N hasn't been mentioned yet. So none of those guys were actually in the group yet. I do know that if G is in group 2, then N has to be in group 1, but N is already in group 1, so we don't really have to worry about rule 4. Yeah, we can switch G and M back and forth. That's totally fine. So does J have to be in group 1? No, it actually can't be. Does K have to be in group 1? Yes. Does L have to be in group 2? No, it can't be. It has to be in group 1. And M in group 2, no, it could switch back and forth. So A and E, those ones are things that could be true, but also could be false. B and D are things that actually cannot be true, and C is the correct answer because it's the thing that must be true. Right. Let's keep moving. So question 4, if L and M are in group 2. Okay, so 1 or 2, L and M over here, that puts G in group 1. If L is in group 2, then H is also in group 2. We only have 1 space left there, so we're not going to be able to put F and J in group 2. They're going to have to go in group 1. And the remaining players, K, which is wild, and N, which doesn't have to be in group 2 or group 1. It could be in either. So G is in group 1. That doesn't trigger rule 4. But that's just a consequence of, like, if we put N in 2, then that consequence of G being in 1 is already there, so we don't have to worry about it. So K and N, those guys can go back and forth. Okay. So let's see, a person who could be assigned either to group 1 or to group 2. So the correct answer is either K or N, and E, we have K, right? We're obviously not going to see both K and N as options because there's only one right answer. But yeah, either one of them would be a correct answer to that question. Okay, just gonna give myself a little bit of extra room here on my page to play around. So, and yeah, I guess I don't need to redraw all of that. Okay, can just scroll up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner. Oh boy, too used to working with like an actual piece of paper. But yeah, I have endless space to keep drawing here. All right, so question 5. Each of the following is a pair of people who could be in group 1 together, except, okay, so this would be scenario where it would be really nice to just like have all of those acceptable solutions written out. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the benefit of actually doing it on a piece of paper, is that you wouldn't be erasing all of this, right? You would keep your acceptable solutions and keep moving. But that's okay. Let's go through and recreate these solutions or try to quickly find the thing that's not going to work. So group one together. Oh, and actually right away, I see what would cause an issue. So I'll show you why that occurred to me. So I'm thinking group one together. I'm concerned about running out of space. So if I put F somewhere, J is going to join it. Whereas putting G in group one isn't a trigger. But putting H in group one is a trigger. L is going to have to join it. But we're going to end up with a problem because we have to leave room for G/M because those guys have to be separated. So F and H both being in group one, not going to work. That's not going to work. Same would be true if I said J and H, because along with J comes F, right? So that could be a pairing where they wouldn't be able to be in group one together. L, though, if it's L and F or L and J, that's not going to cause the same issue, because between F and J, they would both trigger the other one to be in, whereas with H and L, H being in triggers L to be in, but L being in group one doesn't actually trigger J to have to, or L being in group one doesn't trigger H to have to be there as well. So with F and J, one of them's in, the other one has to be in. With H and L, it depends which group we're putting them in. So if we're putting H in group one, then L comes with. If we're putting L in group two, then H comes with. But if we put L in one and H in two, then that's totally fine. They can be separated. So yeah, so the correct answer for that one is B. And last question, if L is in group two, okay, so that's going to trigger the contrapositive of rule 3. Okay, so L is in 2, H is going to be there as well. We don't have room to have both F and J because we have to leave room for MG. Okay, so F and J are going to be over there. And then who are we splitting up? K and N? Okay, all right. But for this one, it does actually matter what we do in terms of G and N, because we know that we have to have at least one of them in group one. So here's G, here's N. We definitely have to have one of them here. So like if this is MFJ, this has to be N. And if we have K in group one, then we have to have G. And it's possible for me to have both M and G in group one, and that would be fine. LH. Wait, no. Sorry, both N and G is possible. Got confused there because M and N sound alike. That's no good. Okay, so we could have G and N together. M and G can't be together, but N and G can be. So M and G, no. But N and G, it's okay if they're both in group one. That's okay. And then we would have L, H, M, and K. So those are the three possibilities if L is in group two. So each of the following is a pair of people who could be in group one together. except what? So could we have F and M? Definitely. Could we have G and N? Yes. Could we have J and N? Yes. Could we have K and M? K and M? No, because that would put G and N both in group 2. And if either one of them is in group 2, the other one has to be in group 1. So that wouldn't be allowed. So yeah, K and M can't both be in group 1. D is the correct answer. Right. All right, I hope that helps. Yeah, I think this is a really good game to be doing, even though it's like from an earlier test. Yeah, if you're planning on writing the test with games attached, then anything where they're testing you a lot on conditional reasoning is going to be valuable, because that's going to be tested quite heavily, I imagine, in the game sections until they're done with games. And then I think conditional reasoning is likely going to be tested quite heavily in the logical reasoning section moving forward. Yeah, all right. Now let me know if you have any follow-up questions. Thanks. Bye.